I want you to take a few minutes to look back at your current relationship. Have you ever felt like sometimes something doesn't quite fit? A vague feeling halfway between belief and doubt? You love her, without a doubt. But deep inside, you still can't help but wonder, am I the one? I understand that feeling. It's not unreasonable jealousy. It's an intuition that tells you there's something left unsaid, and that makes you feel insecure and disoriented. But I'm not here to judge anyone. I just want to help you listen to your intuition more clearly, because sometimes what you need is not an immediate answer, but an awareness to recognize small signals that can be very important. I believe that a mature man is not someone without emotions, but someone who knows how to keep his emotions from influencing his decisions. And to do that, you need to look at things soberly, from a position of understanding, not judgment. So, let me tell you 10 subtle but meaningful signs that will help you better understand the woman you're with. There is a paradox. When a woman becomes physically intimate with you too quickly and too comfortably, sometimes it is not necessarily a sign of deep love. I know when she proactively gets close, or doesn't hesitate to touch each other, you can easily feel that there is a very special connection between the two of you. But let's slow down a beat. Physical intimacy is a natural part of a relationship. But if it comes so easily, so quickly, and it doesn't even feel like there's any emotional attachment involved, then you should ask yourself, why is she so comfortable? Is it her way of expressing her true feelings, or is it just an instinctive action that lacks emotional depth? I don't want you to doubt everything, but as men, we need to be subtle in recognizing the difference between intimacy that comes from real connection and intimacy that comes from superficiality. When a woman truly loves you, she is in no hurry. She wants to be safe, to be trusted, to be heard before opening her heart and body. So, don't just look at the level of physical intimacy. Feel the way she looks at you afterward, the way she connects with words, eyes, and care after intimate times. That's what will let you know clearly. Are you truly loved? Or are you just a temporary person in her emotional void? Have you ever been with a woman, shared a lot of time, been intimate, laughed, even slept together, but felt like she was building an invisible wall? You talk about feelings, she moves on to other things. You ask about the future, she avoids it with jokes or silence. Everything continues, but you don't know where you really stand in her heart. I've been through that, and I understand that feeling of confusion very well. When a woman avoids emotional connection, it's usually not because she's not smart enough or doesn't understand. It's because inside, she may be afraid of being hurt, afraid of losing control, afraid of trusting the wrong person. Many women learn to stay strong by keeping emotional distance. They fear that if they let themselves be weak or reveal their true feelings, they will lose their self-control. And sometimes, because the wounds from the past have not healed, they think that not letting anyone close is the safest way to protect themselves. If you are with someone like that, the best thing you can do is not to push her. but to be genuinely present, patient, lightly. Ask a nice question, then really listen. Because sometimes just one person being calm enough to stay is enough to make the other person's heart gradually open. And if you are that person, then that is the most beautiful thing you can give her. Someone to trust, someone who doesn't leave, someone who really wants to understand. There were times when I was with someone and everything seemed like a never-ending cycle. She said she needed me but kept her distance. She proactively sought me out, but then turned cold a few days later. She wanted me to listen, but when I asked what was going on, she just smiled softly and said, "Nothing." And I kept struggling, not knowing what was real and what to believe. If you have ever been in such a situation, I think you will understand that feeling of fatigue, confusion, and a little hurt. Because what confuses people the most is not knowing for sure that the other person doesn't love them, but not knowing if they really want them. Uncertainty is the feeling that easily hurts the heart the most. But I also gradually realized that sometimes that conflict does not come from the other person intentionally hurting us. It's because they are also contradicting themselves. They may carry within themselves many unresolved stories, unhealed scratches, and incomplete beliefs in love. So, if you're in the middle of a relationship and things are unclear, don't blame yourself. Don't try to explain too much. What you need is alertness. Look at actions rather than words. And most importantly, go back and ask yourself, what do I really need? Because real love is not ambiguous. It may not be perfect, but it's always clear. Have you ever prepared mentally all week to meet someone, carefully planning what to wear, how to talk, then right at the last minute, a text message comes. "Sorry, I'm suddenly busy. Let's meet another time." And you just sit and look at your phone, disappointed. I've been like that, not just once. Every time the expectation of meeting and getting closer, everything is extinguished by an unexpected change. Gradually, I was not only disappointed at not being able to meet them, but also began to doubt my own value. Am I important? Or do things only happen when they are free? I understand that everyone has unexpected events, and flexibility is necessary in life. But when last-minute changes happen again and again, it's not because of busyness anymore, but because of priorities. People will make time for what or who they really want. And if you're going through this, I just want to say, your feelings are real. It's completely normal for you to feel sad and abandoned. But you deserve a relationship where the plan isn't just a promise, but a presence. A person who doesn't just text, "I'll see you," but will try their best to be there when promised. Love isn't always as romantic as the movies, but at least it should be a safe place for you to feel valued. And that starts with consistency in every small action. There is one thing that I believe anyone in love feels deeply hurt by, is being compared to their ex. Whether those words were unintentional or intentional, the feeling of being weighed against an old figure always makes the heart ache. I still remember the first time the person I loved said, "Do you like that dish too? My ex-lover used to love it too." It sounds gentle, like an old story being told, but inside I was a feeling of disappointment. Suddenly my little bundle of joy was no longer the only one. It was like being covered with a shadow from someone's past. Such comparison is not respect. It unintentionally turns the current relationship into an invisible competition, where the person who stays always feels like they have to prove something, that they are better, more worthy, or different. I understand that the past cannot be erased, and we all have old loves. But now is where two people are living together, building each memory, each step forward. And no one wants their love to be overshadowed by the past. If you are in love with someone, let them know that they are a separate individual, worthy of being seen with new eyes. Don't let old memories overshadow the beautiful things that exist. Because sincere presence, without comparison, is the way to make the person you love feel safe, whole, and complete. Have you ever sat next to your lover and seen them holding their phone as if they were holding a big secret? Every time a message comes in, they bend down quickly, tilt the screen, or even step away just to reply a few lines. Those actions, no matter how small, are enough to make the heart of the person next to them shrink with insecurity. I once fell into such a situation. At first I thought maybe he was just busy with work or wanted some privacy. But over time, a sense of skepticism began to creep in. Not because I'm curious or controlling, but because when you truly love someone, you are very sensitive to distance, especially the invisible distance created by a phone. I understand everyone has the right to privacy, but if you choose to enter a relationship, transparency and peace of mind are things that need to be cultivated. No one is expected to know everything on each other's phones, but if every time that person lowers their head to the screen you feel a pain in your heart, then it's no longer private, but a separation. True intimacy doesn't come from sharing passwords or reading messages, but from a feeling of trust. This is when the other person can leave their phone nearby without you having to worry. It's when you feel that, no matter how noisy the outside world is, there is still a safe space between you two where there is nothing to hide. And that feeling is what makes love gentle, lasting, and trustworthy. I think everyone has had a period of looking at themselves in the mirror and wondering, am I beautiful enough in the other person's eyes? Or when choosing an outfit, you tell yourself you have to be neater and more youthful because you're afraid that person will criticize you for looking down. Those things are actually very natural. We want to be attractive in the eyes of the person we love. There's nothing wrong with that. But if concern for appearance becomes the biggest concern, it is something worth thinking about. I once witnessed a friend always struggling because she thought she was not pretty enough for her lover. She's afraid to laugh loudly because she's afraid her teeth won't look good, doesn't dare take off her makeup when she's around him, and even has to adjust her sitting position every time he turns around. And she's tired, very tired, because every time she's with him, she can't be herself, but like she's playing a role that she can never let go of. Love shouldn't be a stage where you have to put on a lot of makeup and dress perfectly just to be accepted. Because the deepest connection lies not in curves or makeup, but in peaceful eyes when both can sit together in the most rustic way and still find each other beautiful enough. Taking care of yourself is good and necessary, but if someone really loves you, they will love you even when you haven't had time to comb your hair, or when you're tired and lying down and don't want to do anything. Because for them, true beauty does not lie in appearance, but in the feeling of being close to a real person. And sometimes, it's when you stop trying to be more beautiful that you shine the brightest. I know this is a topic that many people often avoid or find difficult to talk about, but the more delicate it is, the more important it is. Sexual safety is not only a matter of health, but also a part of respect for yourself and those around you. I once heard a female friend confide that what hurt her was not the physical relationship, but the feeling that the man didn't care about protecting her, didn't ask how she felt, had any worries or wanted anything. Everything happened as if it were normal, as if she had no right to say, "I need safety. I want to be protected." I think in any relationship, especially when it's physically intimate, proactively taking care of safety, using protection, asking about feelings, and sharing openly is a very clear sign of a mature person. It shows that you're not just looking for short-term pleasure, but are truly looking to build a lasting connection. Don't think that talking about safety takes away the romance. In fact, when you are delicate enough to ask, "Are you comfortable? Shall we use measures?" At that moment, you are doing the most romantic thing, making the other person feel respected, secure, and truly loved. And it is that peace of mind that is the foundation for a truly deep, tender, and lasting intimacy. I once asked a friend what makes her feel truly loved in a relationship. She answered very gently, "It's when he held my hand in the crowd and told his friends, 'This is the person I'm in love with.'" That answer stayed in my head forever, because it was so real, so ordinary, but it said so much. Introducing your loved one to your friends is not an ostentatious ritual or a requirement to come out. It's simply a way of saying, "You are an important part of my life, and I want those closest to me to know that." It is a small act, but carries a huge emotional weight. I know there are men who always make excuses like, "I'm not used to taking anyone with me. My friend is a bit strange. I'm afraid you won't feel comfortable." But if that happens repeatedly, over time, the woman will feel like she's being hidden. It's like this relationship only exists in the dark, unrecognized, unshared. And you know, the dopamine that makes us feel happy and connected comes not only from hugs and kisses, but also from the feeling of acceptance and pride when someone sincerely wants to bring us into their world. So if you really appreciate a woman, show her that. There's no need to organize anything fancy, just an intimate coffee session with friends, a light hug when introducing her as an important person is enough to melt a woman's heart. Have you ever sat waiting for a text message all day without receiving a response, then thought to yourself, maybe he's busy? Then the next day, continue to wait. Then the next week, you start taking the initiative in every conversation. And gradually, you find yourself gradually being pushed out of that person's priority circle. I understand that feeling. It's not noisy, not clear, but it makes my heart colder little by little. When the man who used to eagerly call every night, who remembered every little detail you said, suddenly no longer pays attention. No more questions. Are you tired today? No more eyes following you in crowded places. Instead, there is indifference. Messages read and then not answered. Empty promises that never come true. We all have busy lives, but you know we don't always have time to prioritize the things that are truly important. When someone considers you valuable, they will find a way, not an excuse. A short call, a simple note, even just the words, "I'm thinking of you right now," is enough to shower your heart with warm and connected dopamine. I'm not saying you should be demanding or angry, but if you feel like you have to keep trying, and the other person no longer puts you in their heart like before, then maybe it's time to stop for a bit. Look deeply into yourself and ask yourself, do I deserve to be loved completely? And the answer is yes. You are always worthy. I know when in love, all of us sometimes wonder, am I on the right track? Sometimes we love so passionately that we ignore the small signals and unusual silences that we should have listened to. But real love doesn't make you doubt your self-worth, doesn't make you feel like you have to beg for attention or compete for priority. Love is not perfect, but it can always be cultivated with sincerity. If you are in a relationship where the signs I just shared keep repeating, don't blame yourself. Instead, step back a bit. Place your hand on your heart and ask honestly, am I being loved in a healthy way? Love is not just a feeling. It is also the presence and choice of each other every day. It's when you know you don't have to force yourself to keep someone there, but you both want to walk together peacefully and voluntarily. And if you don't have that right now, that's okay. Because maybe, by recognizing and stepping away from the things that no longer serve you, you are paving the way for a more worthy love, where you are loved properly, completely, and fully. You deserve it, always.